the streaming's end. Okay, now we should be working.
Whatever. Let's see if this one works here. Is this one working? I think we're working here. Is this one working now? Can you guys hear me? Are we good on YouTube? Okay, now we're working. Okay, good. So I just got to fix up that one there. But okay, welcome aboard, everybody. It is your host, founder of this wild ride over here, Demetrius Villa, and welcome back to the Arc Lounge. We haven't had one of these in a good long time, but yeah, I think the topic of discussion today is simply as the title goes: America doesn't build anything good anymore, or anything cool, and it just takes time, just way too darn long to build anything right. So this really started as just thinking back on the Gilded Age for multiple discussions and what those people were able to build, whether it was any of them. They could have been the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Vanderbilts, the Carnegies, the Fords of the time, any of those people, of course, the Flaglers. But I mean, what those people left with the United States is a lasting legacy that kept on. They left libraries, railroad stations, grand buildings, everything that you could think of that we're still living on today. And we're living on the bones of that because our new class of billionaires and millionaires just can't they just can't stand up to that. If you don't have, we don't have a Rockefeller or JP Morgan because JP Morgan, I understand, has a mixed, you could say a mixed view on him, but I mean, he left a whole lot of philanthropy back. He gave money to a lot of or built a lot of churches in the United States. Not just gave money to churches. He built a lot of churches in the United States. He built a lot of buildings. He helped finance a lot of infrastructure projects. And then you look at somebody like, I don't know, Warren Buffett, who seems to be the type of guy that is one-minded, that he's just here to collect money. That he's just he has this ingrained in his mind that his grand goal is to stack as many coins as he can. So if Warren Buffett was reborn again as a Zoomer, he would be on Grand Theft Auto 5 completely ruining the entire economy and just buying up everything to no end like a robot. He just would not stop at doing that. That would be Gen Z Warren Buffett. And you can see that because there's no Warren Buffett library. There's no Warren Buffett grand infrastructure project. So he owns a whole bunch of different companies that are as lean as possible, but he's taking those companies to the ground. He's not going to leave a lasting legacy. So what? He has a banal book that he wrote. That's it. This is the legacy that our current millionaires and billionaires are leaving us. What? Apart from maybe they'll go on a yacht somewhere in the Maldives for a masterclass in an ill-fitting T-shirt to go ahead and share some knowledge here in their garage. This is our generation of millionaires and billionaires in the country. They don't build anything great anymore. We're kind of just stuck with stuff. But there is one billionaire who seems to understand that no one is building anything. So he's gonna LARP and pretend that he is building something, and we'll start with that, which is the Robovan. The Robovan. Look, I'm not going to say that it's not cool. I'm not going to say that, it's a heck of a lot better than having nothing. But, I mean, in comparison to what every other country has, and apologies if I don't have the correct visual representations over here because my other laptop decided not to work too. It's decided to update, let's put it this way, which is the same thing. So, yeah, Bill Gates. Let's put another billionaire. Bill Gates. What's he leaving us? Microsoft. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Doesn't work. Give me a break. But for what we're trying to build in this country is nowhere near what we had built in this country. And just to give you a start of that, so this was a Twitter thread that my fiance sent over to me by a James Lucas IT at Twitter, X, whatever you guys want to call it now. I am starting to get back on Twitter or X, whatever we want to call it, but starting to get back on that so we can try to get the message out there and bring more people into the fold, because it's not about sending, in one ways it is about sending a message, but in another way it's about also getting people to our side who otherwise would think that they're alone in thinking about this, and understand that yes, there are other people that think like you. You're not alone, and here's a group that you could be able to join to get the ball moving forward on American infrastructure. That's what we're trying to do over here, because I know it's very hard with all of us spread out throughout the United States and throughout the world, trying to build and bring a world-class infrastructure system to our neck of the woods. But it's going to take time, and it's a lot harder because we're so atomized, and the only way that we have to really connect with each other is through this public square like we're doing right now, the American Rail Club. So without further ado, let's just go through this thread, and then in about 10 minutes or so, or 5 minutes, we'll just bring everybody on board and we'll go through here, right? So the future is starting to look like the future, right? And that's what the future should look like, the future, okay? Elon Musk has revealed that this Art Deco train inspired the design of the Tesla Robovan. Here's a thread from some of our most beautiful and iconic Art Deco marvels of all time. All right, you guys know what this is over here, the New York Central, the P1. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong with anything over here. Of course, the Chrysler Building. If you guys are ever in New York, you've always seen that. You guys know what the Chrysler Building is. 319 meters tall, 1,046 feet. This glorious Art Deco skyscraper is the tallest brick building in the world with a steel framework. It was the world's first super tall skyscraper and the tallest building for 11 months after its completion in 1930. Because 11 months after its completion was the Empire State Building. And you know how long it took to build that? 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. We can't build anything in 3 years in this country. I mean, is there anything that we can't? We can't even freaking finish a highway within 3 years in this country. They're still working on the I-69 over here in Indianapolis. They can't seem to finish it. There's accidents there every day. And you can say this for any other interstate, basically, within the United States, whenever they're doing any work on it. It's never going to take 3 years. And look at this. This is lasting over here. This is This is a lasting piece of work of art. The Duesenberg, the Ducey. The Duesenberg was probably one of the best auto manufacturers, period. I mean, they were way ahead of their time in terms of the amount of power and speed those vehicles could output. The luxury car was planned to debut in 1939 at the New York World's Fair, but failed due to World War II and was eventually lost, as well as the company. In 1998, a 1/24 scale model was released, followed by a special edition in 2008 called the Midnight Ghost. So, I mean, look, I think people were far more ahead than where we are right now. The Mercury, I'm sorry, not the P1, the Mercury. The inspiration behind Elon Musk's Robovan was a streamliner passenger train system created by the great Henry Dreyfuss, operating from 1936 to 1959. The Mercury, after the Roman god of messengers, was chosen for its connotation of speed. I mean, and it's not just the Mercury. I mean, you have so many other streamliners, diesel, electric, you know, whether it's the GG1 or the F7 here behind me, the Milwaukee there. I mean, a steam train going excess of 120 miles an hour. We don't have trains in the country just regularly going 120 miles an hour, except for two. Okay, that being the Acela and Brightline. Okay, and only in a couple places. Okay, but we're talking about steam trains 100 years ago going 120 miles an hour. And of course, there's other ones like the Pennsylvania P. That was the one, the P1. Okay, and you can see all the history of trains behind me over here. Okay, so I mean, I think we were further ahead before than we are now. The American Radiator Building in New York City. Okay, I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but you guys can read this and you can see this for yourself. If anything, I'll go ahead and leave a link for you guys in the YouTube description or in the comments. But I mean, you know, one of my favorite buildings, by far my favorite Art Deco building, is the Carbon Carbide building in Chicago. That thing looks amazing. And we can't build anything close to that. The Guardians of Traffic, that's the Memorial Bridge in Cleveland. 30th Street Station in Philadelphia. There you go. Look at that. I mean, gorgeous. We can't even build nice stations anymore. I mean, the only nice one I can think of is probably the Moynihan Station. Even then, that doesn't look that good. I mean, they added in all these modern art cancers that are just sparsed out along or underneath the station. It just doesn't look as good as it could have. I mean, it's great that we're reusing the building. It's great that we have at least something that is similar to the design of the original Penn Station and not the absolute atrocity that is across the street that is the new Penn Station. It's something that's fine, but you know, nothing compared to this. Look at this Niagara Mohawk building in Syracuse, New York. Look at that. That's just incredible. 1930s Henderson Model KG Streamline. I've never seen this before in my life. This is the first time I've ever seen this one, but I mean, heck, that looks cool. And exceeds 100 miles an hour, which was a pretty big deal back then. The Paramount Theater in Oakland, which you don't want to see Oakland now. Okay, we may get to that. We don't want to see Oakland now. But look what Oakland used to be. The Eastern Columbia Building in Los Angeles. Look at that. That is unbelievable. The GE Building, the General Electric Building in New York City. There you go. 450 Stutter Street, San Francisco. Neo-Mayan Art Deco skyscraper in San Francisco. That's pretty cool. Art Deco doors in the CD Peacock Jewelry Store in Chicago, Illinois, completed in 1925, 100 years ago. 100 years ago. They can't even build doors like that anymore. It's not that they can't. It's that they don't want to. They don't want to. Cincinnati Union Terminal. If you guys haven't been to Cincinnati, to Union Terminal, definitely go check it out. It is absolutely gorgeous. The artwork along the side of it over here, just showing the advancement of America in terms of technology, is absolutely wonderful. You guys need to see it if you are ever in the area. Tim's Buick Streamliner, 1948. Spirit of the Guardians, Liberty Memorial in Kansas City, Missouri. The Boston Avenue Methodist Church. I mean, look at that. It's just completely gorgeous. Look all the stuff that we had there before. And I'm just going to keep scrolling through here. Winged Figures of the Republic, Nevada, 1936. The Empire State Building. Look at that. Oh, I'm sorry. Not built in 3 years. Built from 1930 to 1931. It took 2 years. 2 years to build the Empire State Building, and it's still standing there. Still standing there. Tallest building until 1970. Okay, and then I believe it was the Sears Tower, or now whatever they're calling it now in Chicago, that overtook it. Still doesn't look nearly as cool as the Empire State Building. And yeah, you have what? The Burj Khalifa. Really, the building where they have to go ahead and send poop trucks to go ahead and empty it out because they didn't really get it connected to the cities. It's a load of crap. Pun intended. A load of crap. Look at this. This is still standing the testament of time. Almost 100 years later, the Empire State Building is still there. Okay, and I've been there. I've been to the top of it. I mean, it's amazing. Cathedral of Learning, Pittsburgh. Okay. Speaking of, okay, a lot of these universities. I think the University of Pittsburgh, I believe, was funded by. I believe either Vanderbilt or maybe it was Vanderbilt University, but either way. These were all built and funded by a lot of these captains of industry. I don't think they should be called robber barons. I think the robber barons are the ones who are living now. I think that term is basically used as as a way to what's the term I'm looking for? Just mirror away what they're doing. Okay, it's projection. That's what it is. It's projection. Okay, the robber barons are the ones who are living today. Okay, they're projecting that term on the actual real people who built this country. The people on top being, of course, the captains of industry, and the people who made it happen and built it and put it together being the American family and the American worker. Okay, look at that. Standing across the OSHA would be on top of that. You wouldn't be having that anymore. These are real men building this stuff. I mean, you don't have that now. Duchess of Hamilton, British steam locomotive, Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro. Okay, I mean, just look at that. I mean, everybody, when they think of Rio, they think of course, losing your liver probably in a sleeping in a Rio beach or something like that, or getting stabbed. But I mean, at least look at that. I mean, Rio used to be a beautiful place. Brazil used to be a beautiful place. I mean, it still is a beautiful place, but I mean, you don't want to be walking in Brazil in a lot of places. Let's put it that way. Okay, so there. I mean, that's at least something, right? But I mean, compared to everywhere else in the country, in the world, okay? Because when I've gone to Japan, you guys have seen the Shinkansens, okay? And then not entirely Art Deco or anything like that, but I mean, it's worlds ahead of whatever we have here in this country, okay? And let's bring this one here. I'm just getting a real quick picture. If I can just get images, whatever. We'll just drag the tab over here. There you go. Look at that. I mean, we don't have anything like this in this country. We just don't. I mean, we can get there. It's not that hard. We can certainly build it. But we're just so far behind. And why is that? It's because we don't have the political will in this country to build it. Guarantee you, and the same thing would happen. Our country is falling apart. But they basically left Appalachia to drown and get covered in mudslides, and they're not helping him, like we discussed last week. Florida, were not for its own, its own state, basically saying, you know what, the federal government's not going to help us. We're just going to do it ourselves, and taking it upon themselves. And of course, Florida being used to hurricanes, that's just another weekend for us. I mean, there's still no federal help. But I mean, that's the thing. They will go ahead and within a day, just rubber stamp a bill to send billions of dollars outside of this country. Billions of dollars. To, you know which two countries, I'm going to say. You know which two countries. But billions of dollars will be rubber stamped to be sent over there immediately. And we can't get this built. Heck, we can't even build the Hudson the train projects that we have over here. So that's what I'm just going to leave it at. And then one little other thing that I just want to... I wrote this over here. And that's the thing. It's like they can build this in China. Yeah, of course they can build it in China. Because China is... Yeah, they're in debt. So are we. We're in debt. Probably in total with the state debt and everything else, probably $100 trillion in debt. Not 35. 35 is just the federal debt. But everything put together of unfunded liabilities and everything and Social Security debt and all that sort of stuff, we're talking about $100 trillion. But where's that $100 trillion? Can you point and say you can see any of this within our country? No. But you can go to China because China has taken their debt and they've leveraged their debt in order to build their own country. Okay, and sure, it's definitely not perfect. Okay, not at all a fan of communism. Despise it. But they're using to their advantage what they have in the economy, that they know that our country has sold ourselves, our own people out to the Chinese in terms of building factories over there to enrich them. And they're using their debt and they're using their stake in the global economy to go ahead and build their own country, to build their own. And what? You're going to go ahead and, you know what, China's time to pay your debt. What? You're going to seize their assets? You're going to walk into China and take away the railroads? You're going to do that? It's been able to build its own modernization. Okay? Our own debt's been used to finance the beast of our own dismal decline over here in this country. Okay? Or to finance, you know, our friends, our best ally. Billions of dollars. Not one more cent should be going over there. But of course, whatever we say as a people, we could vote for it. It will be 99%. We can vote for it and it won't happen. Just like in California, they voted to build the high-speed rail between Los Angeles and San Francisco within a set amount of time, within a set budget. That's not happening. They're building in the Central Valley and it's still not getting built. It's going to take a private company, basically, to actually build California's first real high-speed rail train. A private company from Florida, nonetheless. Okay, but we've built debt upon debt in this country. And when anything gets built, it's just a slew of suburban stilts, which get blown away. Okay, again, it's just to build up more debt because they're using the suburban stilts to go ahead and finance, leverage more debt. Or to build something ugly. Okay, and there's so many ugly statues in this country. I mean, the one that I believe that I don't even want to show it on screen because it's just so hilariously bad. The one that they replaced the Robert E. Lee statue in Virginia, it's just absolutely atrocious. It's hilarious in a sense. I mean, but you have like these geometric cancers just scouring the entire land. Okay, we don't have cool monuments anymore, like the Soldiers and Sailors Monument here in Indianapolis. If you ever are here, go ahead and check it out. Okay, why? Because you know they fill us with pride, they fill us with courage and a sense of belonging in this country. Like, you know, people went ahead and bled for this country to make it what it is. We don't have that. You know, Grand Central, all these other states, you know, with passion, hope, courage for our nation's past. What's built now fills the NPCs walking along with basically nothing in their empty heads. And the passionate us, it just sours us and it just makes us just hate this more. Okay? And it's good to you know, love what is good and hate what is evil. Okay? The stuff that they build nowadays, half of it is evil. Let's be honest. It doesn't fill us with anything good in this country. Okay? And it's not a hatred for the architects and artists, because these artists and architects in a more sane time, they'd be thrown into an insane asylum and laughed at. Okay? The people who build, you know, some of these let me just build let me see if I can just get one. New York City, where is it? Rockefeller Plaza statue. Let me see this one. Not the old one, but the new one. Okay, this is what we had before, or this is what we have. You know, here we are. That's what we should be having, and we do have still. But you can go down. Let me see. You go down the street and you see this ugly monstrosity down there. Let me see if I can find it. I should have been more prepared, but I have the tabs on my other end, but let's see. Where is it? There we go. What the heck is that? What is that? And it's not even the worst of them. I mean, this is just insane. What we're building in this country. Again, this is not a hatred for the architects or anything like that. In a sane world, they'd be laughed at and thrown out. But it's a hatred for the people that allow this. And they're, the true robber baron financiers and the political lackeys that put this. You should have a truth test for them and what they subject us to. It really is. Okay, but I digress. I passed the mic. Here you go. See this cool robot here. Getting you drinks. There you go. At least we'll have that, right? That's something. We'll have that. Hey, at least it talks and everything. That's actually, I will say that's pretty cool. Okay, and for those of you who are afraid of the robots, Bernanke 3-inch magic, black magic slugs. There you go. Put those in your shotgun, and you're safe. There you go. All right, let's bring in the audience over here, because I am this just oh man, if you're not mad at how the state of our country, I don't know what would make you mad. But let's go ahead. Let's pop this out. There we go. All right. David Mitchell, and then we'll just start bringing people one by one. You first.
I've been here live for 28 minutes waiting on you to invite me in.
All right, 28 minutes. Or is it 26 minutes? But here we are. Anyway, man, what's up?
Doing good. You know what you were talking about with all the construction that's been found? There is one area, and you know that bridge project that's been worked on for the last year and a half up there in New Jersey on the Northeast Corridor?
Yeah, the Gateway project.
Yeah, the bridge for it, it's 89% complete. They're a year ahead of schedule.
Okay, that's something at least.
That's crazy. Like, even though we've been having all the F-ups, like, I'm going to say F-up or fuck-ups, it's just that we need to get back to basics.
Yeah, and just start building.
We need to get back to basics. Anybody who supports the ugly behind monument, throw them away and throw away the key of what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just, I mean, there's so many ugly, just postmodern, modern art garbage just all over the country. I mean, that was just one. And there's a stark comparison that you can have in between that. But, I mean, yeah, when it comes to that, I mean, the North River tunnels 100 years ago were built within 4 years. Okay? And the Gateway project that they're trying to build now is going to take 10 years. It's going to take an extraordinary amount of money, and it's only just going to double the capacity. So wait, we're doing in 2030s. It's going to take almost more than double the amount of time with modern technology to basically do the exact same capacity that they had back then 100 years ago.
That's it, total. We went backwards. We went backwards, not forward, but backwards with the crap that is happening.
Yeah, and I think, David, I think it's starting to be less of we're going backwards and we're being kept backwards. Because we know we can do it. We have the technology to do it. It's possible to do it, and we're being kept backwards.
And we have 2 trains going by right now, as we speak, right past my house. So,
nice.
But here, they're saying it's going to take them 3. They're saying it's going to take 3 months to get the Norfolk Southern line from Asheville to Old Fort Loop. They're talking about that going to take 3 months before they're able to get that back up and running.
No, that's insane. I mean,
that's ridiculous. Like, I remember back in the day, it only took them a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take that long. I mean, you have the manpower. We have more than the technology available to get it done. So why not? This is an emergency. The country is suffering. You can rebuild this. You can get it done. You can muster and get that done. It's not that hard.
Like, literally, it doesn't take 3 months.
No.
Let's stop that BS, you know?
Well, let's put it this way. At least relative to all the other projects they're doing in this country, 3 months is quick. But yeah, we can do it quicker. All right.
Like, I remember back when that earthquake happened in Alaska back in the 1950s, like late 40, early 50. It only took them a week to put the whole rail system running.
All right.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone?
Let's bring on Brightline fan. Hello, Brightline fan. Okay, what's going on in the house?
Oh, what's
Okay.
up? What's going on today? Well, to me, it's been pretty good. I'm away, so
I
Yeah.
couldn't hear
Okay.
you there, Brightline. You okay?
all right. Here's the thing about the United States and the infrastructure issue. We got too many politicians who don't even care about this country. Like, seriously.
You're
We got
right.
too many corrupt politicians.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if Brightline fan's about to get hit by a chancla or what, but I mean, hopefully we can get him back on soon. Let's bring on Minor Tree on.
That his sister.
Okay. Well, either way, we hope it's a chancla-free night. Okay, let's hope
Are
so.
we sure Brightline fan is not going to die?
Excuse me. Hold on.
Okay, I'm going to live tonight because Notre Dame won, so my fiance's not going to come out and kill anybody, so I'm safe for now. And they won pretty big league, so we're good. I'm alive. Like,
Yeah.
All right.
Brightline, you first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, what I was Rob, who don't even care about this country, who don't even invest in infrastructure. To be honest, they just want to spend on their personal belonging. That pisses me off. And excuse my language.
no, and it should. I mean, language notwithstanding, I mean, it should. Anybody with a conscience, it should be, it should piss you off.
Mm-hmm. It should.
Yeah,
Totally.
And to go on two different points that you brought up earlier, when you said that the United States was over $100 trillion, well, Professor Anthony Davies did a series with Learned Liberty about a decade ago, and it was over $100 trillion then. And that was when our debt was under $16 trillion officially.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you that question.
So once you take in all the debts and unfunded liabilities that we've taken since then, it's not unfair to say it's probably closer to $150 trillion. And then it was, when it was $100 trillion, that just outstripped the entire value in terms of GDP on the entire planet.
Yeah.
And now it's even worse, not including any other country's debt. And the second point I would like to bring up is when you brought up a picture of that abomination of a monument. I threw up a little in my mouth. I didn't know you. Why did you bring that cancer on?
Oh man, I just wanted to remind people, okay? Because that's the thing. This is what we're going up against. I mean, there's a whole lot of other worse stuff. I mean, whatever they had, like some sort of weird, like demon thing that they had on top of like where General Lee's statue used to be, I believe in Virginia. That whole where they had that whole hullabaloo of taking it down and everything, but they replaced it with this absolutely despicable statue.
I've seen pictures drawn by 5-year-olds that were better.
Yeah, actually, let me see if I can find it while we're talking over here. you guys need to see it, but anyway.
I don't even drink, and I'm pretty sure somebody who's drunk can make up something better than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
Minor tree. Give me a quick update. It's you remember last week when we were talking about Banks Rail?
Yep.
He removed everything where he would talk about crap about Florida East Coast. He removed everything about it.
Before you can make your video.
Yep. But his friend did not. His friend video talking crap about Brightline and the 40 East Coast is still up. I sent a link to it in the chat.
Well, here's the thing. Once you put something on the internet, somebody is going to save it. So there's technically a possibility that somebody either put it to archive or Wayback Machine. So there's a possibility that you can go back and get that information theoretically.
But his friend, I'm going to bring it up Banksrail friend, Urban Docs, like the Urban Docs, DOX. This video on how Brightline will fail is still up.
Is what?
And Urbanist Docs. I put the link to the video where he would talk about in the live stream chat. I'll be going to send it again.
All right.
Yeah, I'll watch that later. I think that came up in my feed not too long ago.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I've already watched his videos, and and to be honest, I think they're kind of biased towards Amtrak. Not to throw shade at Amtrak. You know, Amtrak is the national passenger rail corporation. I do like Amtrak, but at least we need to try something new.
Yeah, we need to. And the fact is that I watched his video. Like, the fact is that he literally said that what Brightline doing is going to cause him to fail because he said Florida East Coast did the same thing back in the day and their patent rail system failed. It's total BS, you know? We all know what really costs is that the government. Like, let's not miss that.
And let's try to be more specific than just the government, because we can blame everything on the government, but that's not really getting. We're not really getting too specific here.
Most of the rail issues have been over-regulation paired with over-taxation, including the extra taxes to fund different road projects and the airports, and then deregulating those roads and airports. Well, at least the airlines, not too long after, ended up being at their final death nail, which came to the pseudo nationalization, which became Amtrak. Because if Amtrak was officially a real business, they would have dropped so many of their routes to at least leave the routes that were either profitable or breaking even, and then it would have rebuilt those lines to be much higher standards, at least keeping up with the advancements in Europe and Asia, and then they could have rebuilt all of the lines that they abandoned, and they could have been back by now.
Right,
that's asking way too much.
The main thing about Amtrak, it was initially put down as a temporary measure because they believed that rail was going to be on its way out, and this was something to at least bridge the gap to while people were supposedly getting used to road transit and private automobiles and the airlines that Amtrak would sees its way out, and that will be the end of it and the end of rail travel in the United States. But it didn't end there because, as we know, they almost broke even back in 2019 between actually making a profit. But that's the thing, is that we've post-war, we had completely turned the country upside down in terms of infrastructure to these experiments, or rather, these experiments that were thrusted upon us that don't really work, in terms of just, we'll have roads and interstates everywhere, but nothing will actually work well to the extent that you used to have before, because it won't be able to have the amount of capacity they used to have. It won't be as convenient, and it won't be as anywhere near to the standard of what you used to have before. And that's the problem we're at now.
Well, the roads do work, and they work well, but they only work up to a point.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, you can easily get in your car and drive across essentially a continent. And railroads, yes, you can technically do that, but until you get the regional rail system at least up to European standards, it's going to always be faster to bring in your own car. Which is why rail has not really returned to the numbers that they really want to. Until you get a regional rail that they're topping out at 200 kilometers an hour, which is 125 miles an hour. What's a reasonable thing? They're going to be averaging 60 to 70% of the top speed when you consider stops and speeding up and slowing down.
Yeah.
Would that be reasonable?
No, yeah, you definitely have a point there.
That's if you say 70% of their max speed, that's just shy of 90 miles an hour. That's faster than highway speeds.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he right.
If you say
legally.
well, technically in Texas, you can drive as fast as you want, as long as the sheriff says it's okay.
Yeah.
If not, he's going to set up a good appointment with you and the judge to talk it on out.
If you're lucky.
You got a point there.
Yeah, but even if you say, all right, they're going to average 60% of top speed, you're still talking like 70, 75 miles an hour, which is still upper end of highway speeds from most places. And if you're saying, oh, they're all electric systems powered from a grid that's mainly nuclear, hydro, geothermal, natural gas, or pick your poison, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, it's much cleaner. It's the cleanest rails that we've ever had, built to the modern standards. And with that, it's like, all right, you want to be environmentally conscious? Take the rail. You don't care? Then just do the calculations yourself. Because if you say environment, rail, economically, rail, which is fastest for you, you can do the calculations at home. And I can say with 100% certainty, as long as somebody is given all the facts up front and they have a 90 IQ or higher, they can figure this out in less than an hour.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
And
That is true.
to your point, the problem is that even having the other options of rail, like let's say if somebody from Indianapolis wanted to go to Chicago, your only choice is basically to drive there or to take a Greyhound bus, because your rail option is not really either accessible, or you have to go at 3 a.m. in the morning to go ahead and get on Amtrak to get on the Hoosier that's basically gutted out. And it's going to take you more or less an 8-hour ride to get there, rather than just taking a 4-hour drive. And that's the problem. Which it shouldn't be a 4-hour drive; it should be a 2-hour ride, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up getting kicked off a plane in 2021 because they said I wasn't wearing my mask, even though I was, and so I took a Greyhound back to Houston, and that was 33 and a half hours long.
Oh man.
And it was going to be like a 3-hour flight, but it's like, all right, what about Brightline? One, it was down at West Palm Beach down to Miami. That's not going to help. The route up to Orlando was not going to be operational for another year at that point. So I'm like, all right, get a car. It's like, they don't take debit to rent a car. And I'm like, it's got the same security things that a credit card has, and I didn't have a credit card on me. And they're like, oh, we can't help you. It's like, I could drive it there, back, in under 16 hours going to speed limits. But that's too much for you.
Yeah, and the reason why it's a credit card is basically that in case of any sort of liabilities, they can lock your credit card or max out your credit card to pay for whatever sort of damages you did, because they can't really do that on debit. But
it's got the same security.
I know, but that's how they explain it, which I still think it's silly, because you used to be able to just put down cash and rent a car and no big deal. But I mean, how is anything done without a credit score in this country before 1980 whatever?
Yeah, technically they started coming out with credit cards in the 60s, but they weren't popular until the 90s.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, let's bring in. Let's see, Jay Cordo. Let's go ahead and bring him on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey there.
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
That's
Welcome
great.
aboard.
Thank you for allowing me to come in. It's fascinating because you're live streaming at the very same time Alan Fisher is, and I'm tuning into both.
Oh man, talk about multitasking.
I'm streaming on YouTube right now too, man.
I swear this wasn't on purpose. I started the 8 p.m. Live stream thing. Okay, I don't know where's everybody else getting it. I leave and go back on hiatus for a billion months, and now everybody wants to take my thing.
Oh, yeah. We need Alex to be in this stream right now.
I mean, we can all have
Well,
fun here. If he's more than welcome to come on.
Yeah.
I don't.
mean,
I
what is
tried
this?
to. I tried to like on the chat, put it in there multiple times, but he didn't seem to pick it up. Also, he was playing a video game, which he right now he has stopped doing. But right now he's I guess taking questions and talking about. He's got the map on Chicago right now, talking about some rail lines. I can't really hear it right now because I'm mostly talking to you folks.
Yeah.
And the audio on his, I have it dimmed down. So yeah.
You know, it's a crazy thing. I was learning about the Chicago Canal system a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, it took them. It didn't take them that long to build that. I mean, imagine now trying to build the Chicago Canal system and the Calumet Canal system today. That would be impossible.
We'll have people fighting against that, and trucking companies saying nah.
I mean, it's just we don't have the political will in this country. That's just really what it comes down to. There's political will to do other things like throwing away billions of dollars over to the Middle East or to a certain Eastern European country, but God forbid we go ahead and use our own money or whatever. They're printing out the money at this rate. We're barely even breaking even on paying for the minimum payments or the interest at this rate.
Not to mention all those immigrants. They're paying $2,000 for each.
Oh yeah, I haven't even mentioned that. I mean, that just makes it 100% worse. I mean, like we have our own people with their own problems in this country. Why are we bringing in 40 million more other people with other problems from other countries over here when we can't even fix our own? And that's a major issue. And anybody who has been born here, raised here, or calls them this place home and has actually assimilated to American culture or sees it as a point of pride and a home, they should take absolute major offense to that.
Yeah.
And then I will bring it up. Then you have people who call people like that racist. It kind of total F up,
Yeah, I mean, it has nothing to do with racism. It just has to do with, look, we have a nation of our own. You guys have a nation. Don't dump your whole nation over here. We have our own problems and issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's worse is that, and there's this government, and you know that FEMA actually gave out $750 to the Americans who were affected by Hurricane Helene.
Well, technically,
That
it's
was
a
a
loan.
big-
It's not even a stipend or anything like that. It's just a loan. You have to pay back that $750.
And that messed up. That they should not be doing that. I'm going to be honest. If I were the president, those people, FEMA, they would be facing criminal charges like that.
Yeah, I don't think even the president is even in charge. I don't know who's it. It's certainly not the president. It's certainly not the vice president. I mean, she's barely in charge of her own person at this rate. But somebody else is in charge. That's the problem, and we don't have any control over it.
Technically, FEMA's under the Department of Homeland Security, and technically, they answer to the president. So, if they're not answering to the president, it means you're either incompetent or you're putting people who really should not be there.
Yeah, they're answering to Alexander Mayorkas, or whoever else is in charge of Department of Homeland Security. Let's go ahead and bring in Rennell Reed, because I know last time he wasn't able to get a chance to speak, so let's go ahead and bring him in. But yeah, it really just comes down to that. No political will. Our leaders don't care or don't want to do it. They'll go ahead and rush to get something else done. But that's really the thing. So I mean, I guess all we have to look forward in the future is the Robovan and a robot butler. I mean, stuff that's already been around for what? The Robovan. I mean, come on, it's a tram. It's a bus. It drives itself. So what? Okay, so
it's a battery electric bus that looks nice.
Another one of those bullshit things coming from Elon. It's fake.
Here's the thing. We already had battery electric buses that run on battery. Can we just invent something new?
Oh,
You
you
already
want
have
to invent
Waymo
something
where
new?
I
No, no,
live,
no, no.
so yeah.
That is so difficult. It takes somebody with at least 120 IQ and at least 5 days to figure something like that out. No, we can't do that. It makes the people with 100 IQ jealous.
Oh, I
Ah,
know.
jeez. Listen,
I'm gonna be honest.
listen. This
I
country
thought
has
this
an
guy
IQ.
seemed to be stupid, you know?
I mean, here's
Yeah, listen. This country
here
has.
you go. Here's France
Listen.
with their here you go. Yeah. So what I have on the screen here's France with their Robovan. Oh wait, no, it's an electric tram. There we go. Why we have that? It works. You can technically make it self-driving if you wanted to, but it's just so silly. It's like we don't even have to reinvent the wheel here. Just use what's already there.
Oh yeah, that's true. And
Yeah.
the fact that
I bet you. Listen, I bet my money that's Elon Musk trying to invent something new.
It can be either way. One, he's trying to, because a lot of the stuff looked like out of the I, Robot movie with Will Smith from. Wow, how old is that movie now? 20 years now? Man.
Let me look that up.
Okay, it's probably gonna be around that. I mean, I remember going to the movie theaters to see that, and it's like we're getting back in that. Oh man, we're getting old, guys.
2004.
I knew it. 2004.
20 years ago.
So it's exactly 20 years ago. But I mean,
You might be off by a few months, but still.
Okay, so instead of iRobot, he called this event We Robot. Okay, ha ha ha. Funny pun, Elon. You did it again. You're funny. You're a jokester. We get it. But the other thing is that, and this is part of the whole PayPal mafia thing, is that you have a lot of these guys who were more libertarian leaning, like Elon Musk, like Peter Thiel, who lived and worked in San Francisco, and they got so ticked off with the government bureaucracy in that area that they wanted to just say, you know what, we're going to war with you, and we're going to take over the system for ourselves because we want to build stuff. So in a way, he's probably trying to use the Robovan as a way, look, we can circumvent all the building codes and everything here by just making more or less a glorified electric Art Deco bus to get people around. And yeah, it works in the short term, but it's not it's not a panacea for everything that we need to do to fix this country, because we're looking at the root issues here, right? And the root issues is not just the infrastructure or anything like that. It's also the demographics of this country and where we're going to, and the soul of this country, because it doesn't matter if we have all the money and all of a sudden the infrastructure just dropped on the ground. The people running it are going to destroy it.
Demetrius, do you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you right now, loud and clear. What's up, Brunel?
Okay, you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, I do want to say one, like a good thing.
Sure.
When you the Amtrak Aero trains.
Okay. Are we talking about the new the Avelias or
Arrows from that they're doing with Siemens?
Okay, so we're talking about the Chargers, right?
The new passenger cars.
Okay, okay. Just fill me in here. Okay? So Amtrak Arrows, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, Arrow reservation system. Okay.
It's kind of based on Brightlines stuff.
Okay, are you saying arrows like in, bow and arrow? Is that what you're talking about, or?
he talking about the arrow sets that Brightline actually already had.
Okay, so like
he's talking about the Brightline train sets.
Okay, so the Siemens rail cars that were built for Brightline, that they're now building a separate set for Amtrak. Just fill me in there, right? Okay. Obviously, I didn't know about it. Okay, so I'll own that there. But I mean, I'm just trying to figure out exactly where we are, so we're on the same topic.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you were saying on the Amtrak arrows is that they're moving forward with building a new rail car system finally for Amtrak.
Yeah, but I think they should have did that like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. It's just they just move too slow when it comes to anything. Again, there's just a lack of political will.
And Demetrius, do you think the launch the Brightline service is having an influence on the decisions being made up at Amtrak and like other rail agencies?
Oh yeah, 100% for sure. And from what we see from Brightline, immediately once Brightline got set up, Amtrak started to, I wouldn't say change their business practices, but they were also adapting to what Brightline was doing in terms of their ticketing system, in terms of their, you can tell that the trains, they ordered the same exact trains from Siemens as well, in order to say, hey, look, we're not going to be left alone back in 1973. We're at least going to try to catch up to 2018 where Brightline is. So that's what they were trying to do with that, because it was going to be a bad look on them. And from every congressional hearing that I've seen, when Amtrak and Brightline were on the same page, or in the same meeting, every single congressman and woman would go to Brightline and say, we want something like you in there. And it just completely just making Amtrak look like a fool, to put it bluntly. Because everybody wants the new shiny thing that actually works and that actually got done quickly. Compared to what Amtrak has been for the last 50 years, it doesn't fulfill anything that Brightline did within basically 5 years, in terms of just getting that done.
And people have said Amtrak trains look like soda cans.
Yeah,
which I think they basically do.
Yeah, they do look like soda cans. Hey, speaking of soda cans, we already can. You remember that, David?
I couldn't hear you, man. What's up?
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Is that Amtrak used to have these locomotives that have this paint scheme that look like a Pepsi can?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying. I mean, didn't Amtrak have what was it, a couple months ago that they had a couple of other liveries come out just to showcase their past, or any of the other railroads that they were operating on, or legacy railroads?
Oh, that about 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Okay. Like I said, time's flying. Yeah. I mean, iRobot came out 20 years ago, so I mean, oh man.
Demetrius, I got a question for you.
Sure.
When are those cafe cars for Brightline coming? I can't wait to see those.
Okay, so which cafe cars? The ones that were supposed to be for Brightline in Florida, or the ones for Brightline West?
The ones for Brightline in Florida.
I think those were just concept drawings, and they're not actually going to move upon that in Florida, but they are trying to for Vegas. And I think the thing is that I mean, it was a good concept, but you're taking up an entire rail car for a 3-hour trip that is not going to really get you much of anything when people are going to be either buying from the station there, or you're not quite sure how the model's going to work. I mean, so it would have been a good concept, but I'm pretty sure once they start getting more passengers in there, they will start switching out cars, and maybe they will try that. But I guarantee you it's going to be much more of a hit in the Vegas area, because those rail sets have to be set in. You can't just move in and out different trains or elongated or whatever very easily because they're EMUs, electrical multiple units. And for that, I mean, the clientele that you're going to get going between Vegas and Los Angeles is different than the clientele you're going to get between Miami and Orlando. In Miami and Orlando, you're going to get either a mix of business or families. Los Angeles and Las Vegas, you're going to get a mix of probably business and also older adults and tourists that are going there. Not family tourists like in Florida, but more just, tourists that are going to Las Vegas, okay? Because, the kids are not going to play the slot machines. The kids want to go see Mickey Mouse. All right, so having the
Are you sure they're
there.
not going to play at the slot machines?
Probably not. I don't know. Unless they have, Minecraft slot machines or something like that. I mean, what's going to happen to slot machines once the baby boomer generation goes? Because I don't see anybody, neither millennials or Gen Zers playing slot machines. I mean, what are they going to do with those?
I think, listen, Demetrius, I think Amtrak needs to, at this point, it's been long overdue. They need to modernize seriously.
Yeah, I agree, but I mean, I'm surprised that Amtrak is going this far to modernize, and honestly, at the pace that they're going to, they're doing surprisingly well. All right, I'll give them that. At least I'll give them credit for that. Can they do better? Yes, but they're pretty much hampered by, well, the people who own them, which is the United States government. The Democrats will go ahead and string them along and say, oh, we love you in our constituencies. We'll go ahead and fund you whatever billions of dollars, and then they'll never do it. And then the Republicans, on the other hand, because they don't live anywhere near the train or they just don't care, and they always say, oh, it's $20 billion we're spending on Amtrak. No, we need to spend that in a week. Whatever they spend in a year for Amtrak will be spent in a week or a day for Ukraine. So I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, come on, we can't spend that money that you basically give. The money that they've given just for the Ukraine war could have immediately modernized Amtrak within 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been a better deal. Let's be honest.
When you actually look at the numbers, it's worse than that, because once you really look at them, we spent over $8 trillion just to fight the war on terror. We've probably spent over $500 billion in just different foreign aid.
And we have nothing to
with
show
money
for
that
it.
we don't have, usually just going out and getting it on debt, either to ourselves or to other countries.
Yeah.
Just to give it out to other people.
And that's the problem. We're going at like Robert Kiyosaki levels, but it's a whole country of just building debt for nothing, and there are no real assets behind it.
Yeah, but the problem with Robert Kiyosaki compared to the United States, at least Robert Kiyosaki's got assets behind his debt that is actually worth equal to or more than the debt.
Yeah, let's put it this way. At least he does have gold and stuff like that. I mean, the United States government, Fort Knox has been empty for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's true.
Speaking of that, Dimitri, I sent you 3 articles in the live chat. All 3 of them are pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely have to take a look at that. Let's. I know you sent the link on, and I'm going to see that later on Urban Docs for Brightline, and I know you sent something on. Let me see the chat here. What was it on Canada? Canada's high frequency rail. They can't even call it high speed rail. They have to call it high frequency rail. It's not high speed. We're not speed, but we'll put an extra train per hour and make it higher frequency. Okay, definitely check that out. I'm just gonna click all these links and just check them out in the billions of links that I have.
Okay. All right, Demetrius, I think you never heard about this, but we are testing the monorail here in South Dominican. So.
Oh, in the Dominican Republic?
Yeah, the Dominican Republic is testing its own monorail system right now as we speak.
All right, that's pretty interesting.
A traditional monorail
Yeah.
or somewhat of a newer maglev style?
It's traditional monorail.
Okay.
Okay, Dominican Republic set to build first monorail. This is railway technology. Contract worth $500 million to the consortium with Alstom receiving a share of $370 million. Okay. I mean, I've had my fair share of dealing with Alstom, but hey, it looks like something. Okay, Santiago de los Caballeros, monorail made by Alstom. Let me see that.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let me just go ahead and put it up here for everybody to see on the side here. Second largest city in the Dominican Republic with a population of approximately 590,000 is getting a monorail system, an elevated monorail with, under the local name Monorail. Concrete track streams from Via Olímpica over a length of 13 kilometers to Cienfuegos, serving 14 stops. Okay, now that's pretty cool. Okay, and this is the concept drawing. You know, the funny thing is that they'll have that built way before even California actually starts building actual rail or steel on.
No, you know
And they're
what's
actually,
funny?
they're actually building it. They're actually building it. Look at it. There's more there than in California.
Oh no!
Look at that.
Oh god.
There's already more. They already got
That
the
is really
pylons down. And it's, they signed this what last year, 2023 or whatever, and they're already getting it done. That's
Yeah.
You know, good on you guys. Good on Dominican Republic for doing that. That's you know, good for you guys. You're gonna have something there that you can.
Don't tell California High Speed Rail this. They might get an aneurysm or something.
I mean,
You know what? You know what's funny? It's because they always told us that we're always a third world country, and that is so embarrassing to California. Oh,
I mean,
Oh, it
California at this rate, I mean, kind of is a third world country. But I mean, the stage design's actually pretty cool. Look, I'm not a fan of modern design, but I mean, I used to play. It was the Journeyman Project Turbo on PC and a couple of other these 90s click and play, like sci-fi future games, and there was it was System Shock. That was the other one. That was like sort of like before BioShock. But I mean, they were pretty cool designs. I mean, this is something that looked exactly like out of the Journeyman project. I mean, that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm not a fan of modern design, but that actually looked pretty cool.
Demetrius, did you ever get the videos I sent you on Messenger and Discord?
I know I have them. I'm gonna look at them, man. I mean, I got so much stuff. I got work and this and that. And oh, by the way, I will probably have more work because the voting is going to end on the video we're making. So for those of you who are just watching right now and are not yet aware, we do have a poll up for what will be the next. Oh, the first finally getting back to the regular videos that we used to do before that we all know and love, but finally getting there. And let me just go ahead and get the channel. So we have 3 videos. Let me put up the community post if I can actually get to it. It's taking there we go. All right, so because I actually have a place again and a working PC, we got 3 choices on there. It's the New York City subway versus Tokyo Metro, why US can't build high-speed rail. I couldn't fit anything more than 60 characters, so I'm saying why can't the US build a nationwide high-speed rail network? That's basically option number 2. Option number 3 is all about Brightline West. I have somebody in Brightline West that I can interview, and I want to do a lot with this video. I mean, we're talking about like Blender animation stuff like that. I'm gonna learn it, so it's gonna be pretty cool. But we're gonna get there. But right now, it looks like 43% is gonna be all about Brightline West, and I'll be working on that for the next month or so. So that's what it may be looking like. So I'll put the I can't even get the actual. Can I get the link? No, I can't even share the link because YouTube community post sucks. But I'll share the community link for everybody, and you guys can go ahead who are watching. Go ahead and vote there if you haven't already. But anyway, you guys were saying, go ahead.
Well, here another thing I'm going to bring up is that in Maine, they're right trying to fight to keep a rail system up and running. They're trying to operate for the Rockland branch, which I should say today because that would be a good thing because I know the reason why they're trying to keep the Rockland branch up because they're trying to extend the down eastern down to the end of the line, which I fully support because it needs to happen. Because my thing is, and I'm going to bring it up, is that Maine is one of the only states that is fighting tooth and nail to keep its railroad tracks up and running and trying to get more business up there. Which I fully agree with.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's going to be less of a federally pushed project, and it's just going to be more of states just pushing it. So, like we see with Brightline, okay, that was more or less pushed without little to no federal intervention. Now, Brightline West is a little bit different. They have gotten several $billion grants from the U.S. government. Finally, whoop-de-doo, our taxpayer money is actually going to something within our own country that will actually get built. But, I mean, compared to some other projects, I mean, it's not that much. But, I mean, it's a good amount bankrolled. And it's funny when you actually see how much money has been bankrolled over to Brightline West as in form of grants. Compared to California in the last round of grants, I think it was like maybe a couple $1 million that California got versus $3 billion for Brightline. So, I mean, even the federal government has much more trust and hope in Brightline West than they do in their own pet project in California. That says a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's sure. That's a lot right there. And the fact that there are people who are still saying that Brightline is going to fail is pathetic, you know? The people who are Brightline will fail are pathetic in a way.
It's less. Here's the thing: it doesn't take too much for Brightline to succeed, because what we're looking at in terms of success is that they actually built it and actually running it. Okay, no, we're not going to expect Brightline is going to make a profit within the first year. And that's ridiculous to think that a private company is going to make in its first year of operation any sort of profit. But we're talking about within 10, 15 years. As the service becomes more regular, as people start getting used to the service, that it's going to start making and churning out much more of a profit. Again, yeah, it can do a lot, but I mean, look at the journey that the Japanese high-speed rail system took. I mean, it took 10 years to amortize the original Tokyo to Osaka high-speed rail line, the Tokaido Shinkansen. And then afterwards, I mean, they just started building it, but the Japanese National Railroad System just got so... it became such a large national corporation that got so bogged down in bureaucracy, and they nationalized that. And those companies do make a profit. The Central, JR Central, JR East, JR West, all those companies make a profit in some way or another. And they all run high-speed rail lines.
That is true, and that is that you have people who are literally going on crap, talking crap about a private railroad company cannot make money. Yes, they can. And me even talked about in the last live stream that railroads were restricted to hell and back, where they could not compete with road and air. Like, literally, they restricted the railroads where they could not even make money, and their money was being taken from them by the government and given to their the competition and tax free.
Yeah, Brightline's long term. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the government should actually regulate the passenger railroad industry. There is a lot of potential in that industry. We're seeing that with Brightline, and we could see it happening with Texas Central as well. So there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, and the long-term successes, the long-term success of those projects is going to be: are they going to be able to expand quick enough after they get their first routes running that they'll be able to make a profit, and will they be able to, let's say, diversify into other ways of profit making? Like the Japanese railroad companies, they make a big ton of their profit off of the real estate holdings that they have there, because they own the stations, they own the real estate on there, and the businesses that are leasing on those lands. The same thing with like the Hong Kong Metro and a whole bunch of other metro systems, and those all make a profit. The Hong Kong Metro makes a profit. So Brightline owns the land there, so they have that going for them. Brightline West is also going to own the land on there. It's that, are they going to be able to diversify well enough to be able to have not just, running on the railroad, but also running on, let's say, rental leasing and commercial real estate as well on there. And commercial real estate isn't doing too well in the United States right now. So at some point, as people start going back to work, or if we can actually start getting people back to work or actually making jobs again that aren't BS jobs, we'll get people back to work. But that's just a matter of, that's not going to happen tomorrow or next year. That's going to take years.
And going off of your JR's example from just a few minutes ago, the high-speed rail over there either A, breaks even, or B, makes a fair amount of money on their own. And then when you throw in the real estate on top of that, that just makes them bank. So it's like, oh, Brightline's going to fail. Oh, really? As long as the railroad breaks even, which is not very hard to do, and regulating an overregulated situation only makes it worse. But if you can cut a lot of these unneeded regulation on top of giving them the necessary tax cuts, it's like, boom, that's half their issue right there.
Yeah.
And then you throw in the real estate on top of it. It's like, all right, their east system is going to be making bank. Their west system will come online before the end of this decade and start making bank not too long after. And it's like, all right, which city pair is going to be getting a Brightline train next? Or is other competition going to come up and say, you know what? We don't want those 150 mile an hour train systems. We want to go 200 mile an hour plus.
Mm-hmm. And here, Shane, I'm going to bring it back up again. Like Urban Docs, like, he is wrong in the video. Like, I watched the full video and I was laughing my ass off, saying that this guy is totally wrong, because the part where he brought up one of the reasons why the 40 East Coast passenger rail system failed was because they were having land on the side of their track that they were renting out and selling. What the Brightline doing, is that one of the reasons why, is total BS and not true.
Yeah, I may need to take a look at it, and if you guys are interested, I may make a reaction video to it. But I need to look at it first. I need to do some research and then go from there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw the video around the time it came out about a year ago, so I'll have to watch it again to make sure I get all the points. But a lot of the points that are usually brought up by different urbanist channels is demanding more taxes and more regulations to somehow solve the issue. And then when it backfires, they're like, all right, just nationalize it. It's like, you're going to keep the very system that failed in charge and then throw more bureaucracy on top of it. And somehow it's supposed to get cheaper and better. It's like, that has failed every single time.
Yeah, so here we go. And these are not the latest numbers, but these are from 2014. So this is a more, sane time for JR Central. Net income, 264 million yen, which is, I say, give or take, what, $2 billion. Yeah, if we're talking about in more or less US dollars in net income. Again, the difference, the main difference between the Central Japan Railway Company and Brightline is that this is a massive major company. So you have to scale that down to what Brightline is doing. And of course, they weren't just handed the company either. But Brightline does have a leg up because, they're an offshoot of the Florida East Coast Railroad. So there's some rhyming with that. Because that's what we're talking about, is that take what's been working, scale that down to what we're doing, and then eventually start scaling that up within the United States. Okay, and in terms of demographics, that we don't have enough people over here or there or whatever. No, break the country into multiple places. Okay, Europe is basically, you can fit Europe within the Midwest of this country, and you can build the same sort of system there. Okay, the Japanese system fit Japan on the Northeast corridor. It actually fits more or less the entire Eastern corridor. Okay, it's in California. Okay, either way, you can either the Eastern Seaboard or California. There you go. That's just overlay the Japanese system on there. Okay, you cannot look at it exactly. You cannot look at it as the entire country. Look at it as different regions.
Or if you want to go back and say, all right, overlay Europe over it. It's like, okay, it's about the same size, but they're like twice the population. It's like, okay, so they have a lot of smaller cities dotted everywhere, and we don't have it as much. It's like, okay, so that means you have fewer true 200 plus mile an hour high speed rail lines, a fair number of 150 to 200 mile an hour lines, and then the rest you can have regional lines up to 150 with ease.
Yeah, this is a simple solution, exactly.
But you can't offer simple solutions that get the job done and can be built in under 20 years, because had anyone brought it up and shown that it can be done, it would have been built by 1980.
Oh yeah, but here
Well-
kicker door, it have not been done. It's because you can blame that on the car companies, the government, the oil company, the airline. Heck, they will all cahoot together. They will cahoot together, keeping anything from happening, like the Texas Triangle. Like the Texas Triangle back in the 1980s, the airlines and the oil companies stopped that from happening.
Well, that was mostly Southwest Airlines mainly,
Yeah.
but right now they're the to work with the Texas Central Railway in to get both those systems working and operational and actually work together. And if
Alright.
those two projects work, it's like, all right, I can go from Houston to Dallas or Fort Worth. And that all of a sudden it's like, all right, you have two companies working on the same line plus Amtrak. It's like, all right, you have three train companies that you can choose to take between your cities. That's not even including Austin or San Antonio, a line up to Oklahoma City, maybe over to Louisiana. And if each one brings in their own company, it's like, okay, you have 7 different companies in Texas. You have like 4 up in the Illinois, Indiana area. So it's like, all right, you have dozens and dozens of different companies, not including the ones that have budget railways similar to that of like Ryanair or Southwest Airlines or such. It's like, all right, they're economy seating only, but those tickets are much cheaper.
Right.
And they get you there in about the same amount of time. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, you want to spend $200 going between those two cities, or would you rather spend like $50?
Yeah, guys, hard stop at 9:30, but we got 8 more minutes left. Let's there's one more guy here in the audience. We'll bring in Focus. Let's bring him on board. So let's start wrapping it up. Bringing in some last words and anything else you guys want to talk about. Focus, you're on board.
Hello. So what the hell? It has been a while. In fact, it has been really a while since I last joined. But yeah.
How's it going,
Hey,
man?
Foca, are you
Hello?
Filipino?
What?
Are you Filipino?
No, I'm Malaysian.
Ah, Filipino.
Not gonna
My-
lie, I couldn't really hear you clearly, David.
It's a forced habit.
Yeah, but yeah, Malaysia doesn't. There's nothing happened, I guess. Yes, there is beef. There's considering the fact there's a new king in Malaysia, and I heard the one that could make the KL Singapore line is me, but yeah, never mind. But yeah, there's nothing much. The capital is building another metro line. That's that, and also the another one in the northern city of Penang also building a new metro line. But yeah, even with the potential delays, considering the amount of land acquisition, it is kind of sad that it somehow will probably finish earlier than whenever California finally done with the lease. So right now, what is the current situation? Which one would finish first? Is it in order? I mean, when you say Bright Line West, California or Texas Central in terms of order.
Right now I would say Brightline West, maybe California afterwards, because right now I don't know where Texas is, if they're right now in the beginning stages, but in terms of just getting the contracts written up and where they're going to go, but it's not as sure in terms of a timeline like they had before when it was Texas Central Railroad back in the 2010s. And it's funny that we're talking it like that. We're like, oh, remember back in the 2010s? We're at that stage now because so much has changed within the last several years. But I can tell you for sure, Brightline West is going to get done first before any of those two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can speak, but sorry about that.
But yeah, I think I better leave because Rennery is also want to me.
Okay. Okay, there we are. Now we'll bring it back on board. All right, guys. Any last words before we got 5 minutes before our hard stop at 9:30?
I'll be honest. When Brightline West gets done building, I will say that when it does get done building,
Okay,
they're going to be
you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, loud and clear, man.
Okay.
Go ahead, David.
I'll be honest. When Brightline West get done, they're going to probably be an explosion in high-speed rail projects. Because if it start working there, you're going to have other states wanting to see. Doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican, you're going to have a lot of other country wanting to do it. Or not country,
You
but
mean
other
states?
But am I right?
Yeah, and that's
They're going to be.
I agree.
Yeah. Star Force, you're on as well. Anything else you want to say before we start heading out here in the next 4 minutes?
Hey, Demetrius.
Or Renell, yeah, if you want to, Renell, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of thinking that was a wake-up call for Amtrak to be like, oh crap, we really are gonna have to spend the money on these new sets.
Oh yeah, no, it was let's spend the money. Yeah, let's spend the money. It's like, oh, we're actually gonna have to do something now. We can't just we can't just keep sitting on the same GE engines from the last 20 years ago for the next 40 years. We actually have to do something.
I mean, you can, but you can only refurbish them so many times.
Exactly.
As well,
Right.
I would say that as much as I'm all for upgraded technology and modern technology, I think it's most important to consider how it's going to improve transportation, not only that, but also our lives, because obviously, I'd say we should definitely start at fixing local transportation first and getting those up and running and increasing the frequencies, and then also at the same time, even on like national and short distance routes, I would prioritize those. Just add service, and then long distance routes, I would also try to add service, because the thing is, like, I feel like frequency is going to be better in the long term before you start increasing speed. Just so that you have more options to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Oh yeah, that is a fair point right there.
Anybody else? Anybody else wants to say anything before we go?
Yeah, I'll just say that I look forward to if it's the Brightline West video. I'm looking forward to that, and just looking forward, just long term, looking forward to the project hopefully getting done before 2028, as well as the California high speed rail, hopefully connecting to one of the two metro regions, preferably the Bay Area, with the Caltrain electrification now in line. So, yeah, looking forward to the future. Hopefully for more good things to come along the way.
Oh yeah, for sure, and I'm pretty sure with that Olympic, they're tying themselves to the Olympic starting date, so that's gonna put on extra pressure to make sure that they actually get that done to that date.
Yeah, I mean, the original Shinkansen put the hard date of the Summer Olympics in 1964.
Yeah,
and
October
they
1st,
were-
1964. Yep.
Yeah, and they were at most a month early, so they were able to make it. Whether Brightline can stay on time is another thing entirely.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure. Look, they can do it. Again, we have the technology. We can build it.
I think
All right.
Oops, sorry. You can talk, right?
All right. America needs to get their asses off and they need to build a lot of trains. Not gonna lie, we need a lot of public transit in our country.
Oh yeah,
He's got a
that
point.
for sure.
I have an idea
Especially more localized
for your video,
public transit.
Demetrius.
Go ahead, Renell.
You could put in there like Amtrak is finally beginning to get their act together with the new trains that they're buying.
Yeah, we could definitely put the comparison to what Amtrak is doing. They're basically saying, just,
And bright.
you can copy my homework, but don't make it obvious. And I mean, come on, they're making it pretty obvious that they're copying almost more or less what Brightline is doing.
That for sure.
Yeah, but
Now I'm hoping when Brightline West get done in 2028. I have a gut feeling when they get done in 2028, they're going to be an explosion in high-speed rail projects across the U.S. Because if it can do what it does, we're going to see a mass explosion of rail projects that have been talked about for decades finally getting reverence by saying, look here, look what's going on between California and Nevada. Look at that.
yeah,
That could be.
I think North Carolina's doing one.
Yeah, whether it's Brightline or another private company that steps in, or several different other private companies around the United States, it's proving the proof of concept that's saying that yes, it can work in the United States. Here it is working.
Oh yeah,
it does work between Miami and Orlando.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just waiting.
And I think that's a good thing
A lot
to
of people
to
use it with the hurricane.
Yeah, that's a good thing to end it on, is that we have that there. It's like, look, there's some things that are looking silly in our future, but we got to keep fighting the good fight for the stuff that does work, and that's what we got to keep harping on. But we'll get there, folks. But guys, thank you all for coming on board. Appreciate you all coming on and joining on the lounge.
Thank you.
And
Glad to have
We
you.
appreciate
Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you all, and you two for joining on. Yeah, everybody, thank you all. Take care. Good night.
have a good night. Bye. Bye.
Godspeed.
That looked good.